Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another video with Brooklyn. How are you all doing this terrific Thursday morning? So I want to go ahead and jump right into the video. I found the article that came through my news feed on my phone, and it sounds like it's just far-fetched. Believe me, it's true. I looked it up. I did research on it, and it did happen. A lot of things that I try to touch on, they do sound far-fetched sometimes, but this particular story right here took an interest. I took an interest in it because as children, we do a lot of things that we are not supposed to be doing. And that's how a lot of children just get themselves in trouble. Some children don't even recuperate from incidences that they do as children concerning, pranks or just being rebellious or whatever the case may be. So we're going to start out with this. Idaho teen sexually assaulted by a grizzly bear while disguised as a Sasquatch for a hoax video. A prank attempt went terribly wrong for a 14-year-old boy from Boise as he was raped by a 700-pound grizzly bear while walking around in the woods in a Sasquatch costume. Anthony Drake and two of his friends decided to shoot a fake video of a Sasquatch last week in an attempt to fool one of their teachers who firmly believes in the existence of the giant ape. They created an elaborate costume from a belt, a bear pelt, a fur coat, and a few other furry accessories. The teenage boy began walking around the woods and behaving in an ape-like manner as his friends filmed the scene with their cell phones. Unfortunately for the 14-year-old, a grizzly bear took interest in him and approached unnoticed to assault him. I heard my friend scream my name, and a second later, this huge mountain of hair and fangs was all over me. Anthony first thought the animal wanted to kill him, but he rapidly understood otherwise. It kept dragging me toward him and scrubbing its genitals all over me. It lasted 10 minutes until it came all over me and left. As soon as the bear left, his friends rushed to his side to help him and called 911. He was rapidly transported to the St. Luke's Boys Medical Center where he was treated for a state of shock. Okay? And it says that, he just had a couple of bruises and scratches and lacerations and a minor concussion, and that he probably will suffer from post-traumatic stress syndrome or serious psychological consequences from this extremely painful ordeal. Okay? It says here that most of the times grizzly bears normally avoid humans and they remain isolated in heavily forest areas. So this kind of attack is rare in the United States or Canada. Okay? They said it was only 3 similar cases have been reported over the last 15 years. The last one being in Colorado in 2013. Okay? So they said experts believe the bear may have been fooled by teen's costume and confused him with another bear. Now, being kids, we do a lot of things that we should not do. Now I'm sure these teenage boys meant no harm. They just wanted to prove to their teacher that they were wrong, that Sasquatch does not exist, okay? And they were having fun. But I'm also sure that they knew that bears were in that area. Normally a bear just don't roam up into an area that has never been in. I'm sure they knew that bears were in the woods. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying from a parent's point of view, that they were told to stay out of the woods. Because even coming up in the 70s, when I was coming up, we knew not to go into the woods. I grew up in Brooklyn, but we did have some wooded areas, believe it or not. And I knew as a child, don't go into the wooded areas, So you go into the woods, just say into the bear's house, dressed up like him. He probably was in hibernation and come out and was like, I'm gonna get me some, and it's sad, but you have to be careful of the things you do. When you're trying to fool people and you're trying to play pranks on people, it backfires a lot of times. And that's like breaking into someone's house. You break into someone's house and then you're upset when they fight you back, or they shoot you and they wound you, or their animal attacks you. You know, a lot of people break into people's houses, get attacked and mauled by their dogs, and they want to sue the owner because your dog attacked me. I should be able to break into your home and do what I want to do. You know, the bear, the woods is his home. The woods is his home, and he just seen a bear. And he probably figured it was a female bear. So I don't know what kind of, you know, dancing this boy was doing with this costume on. I don't know how he made the Sasquatch costume look, but this bear evidently thought it was a female bear. I don't think there's any bears that like boy bears. I don't know. But the bear thought, you look good to me, and did what he did. Thank God the bear did not kill this little boy. You know, thank God that he was able to, that's all he wanted. Because he could have killed every last one of them. Them boys that was filming him could not outrun Yogi. There's no way in the world that they could have outran him. You know? And 14 years old, I'm surprised why he was being molested. They didn't run. They stood there. Thank God they were really good friends. They stood there. They didn't leave him by himself, you know. But I'm just saying, children, you have to be careful. Your children have to be careful. Warn them. It's just not predators in the woods. There are bears in the woods, and lions, and all kinds of animals that we may not even know about, you know. And a lot of times parents tell children to stay out of certain areas because of predators. You know, men molesting children and women molesting children, kidnappers, you know. So we tell our children to stay out of wooded areas, you know, don't go down streets by yourself, don't be out at night. But there are things going on in certain areas that don't even have humans as the predator being involved. You know, this boy was raped by a bear, but the bear didn't know that he was raping a boy. He thought he was having relations with someone of his own species, you know, his own kind. You know, and should the boys were not doing any harm, but they should not have been in the woods. And I would assume that they knew. I'm not going to say for sure that they knew that bears were in that area, but I would assume that they should know, because they live in that local area, that bears are there. I live in North Carolina, and we have bears in the mountain area, and I'm not too far from the mountains. I'm like 45 minutes from the mountains. So it's possible that a bear can come down into this area, because it has happened, you know, and it's not often, but it has happened that bears has wandered down toward this way, and they're in the wooded areas, and they warn you, they tell you. So I'm sure that they have seen bears in this area before. So to go into the woods dressed as a bear, a Sasquatch, was just dangerous, but children don't think. That's why they are not allowed to make decisions at certain ages, because they don't think. Somebody may say, well, I'm sure if they know that bears was in the woods, they wouldn't have went in there. They're 14. And if they wanted to play a prank on someone, they're not going to think like an adult would think of the consequences, and let me be safe and let me play Sasquatch in my backyard. They wanting to go into the woods to make it look real. They're not going to think about the dangers of a bear. You know, it could be hibernation time, and they thinking, well, the bears are sleeping. Let's go do this. It's not going to be no harm. They probably had been into the woods before and got away with doing this. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, you have to teach your children to be careful and to stay out of certain places, whether you knew there were bears or not. These days and times, they shouldn't be in the wooded area anyway, in the woods anyway, playing. Maybe years ago you could do that, but parents still would tell you to stay out of the woods because there were predators most of the time hanging around in trees and bushes. You know, me and my girlfriends went to a field when I was young, maybe 9 years old, and there was a predator in the trees. We were in Brooklyn. He was in the trees, hiding out, looking out at us. You know? So you have to teach your children where to go and where not to go. They were in a group. They probably thought they were safe. I'm sure they thought they were safe. And I'm not blaming the children. But what I'm saying is, as children, they do not think like adults. They do not consider the dangers, because even if they did not know that bears were in the woods, there could have been other sorts of predators in the woods, kidnappers, child molesters, sex trafficking people. Anything could have been in the woods is what I'm saying. He got mauled by a 700-pound bear, but it could have been someone who could have kidnapped all of them and sent them over to China somewhere in the sex trafficking field. Somebody could have just killed them and kidnapped them, put them in their basement and did anything they wanted to do to them worse than what the bear did, what the bear did was god awful. But what I'm saying is, things could happen. You have to tell your children, don't go into these places. I'm sure their parents didn't know they were trying to pull a prank on their teacher to fool their teacher, and the prank went wrong. If the teacher want to believe that Sasquatch is existing, kudos. Let the teacher believe what he want to believe. Sometimes you don't have to prove everything. It'll come out in the light. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to always be right. You don't always have to prove things to people. And people have to learn that at an early age. I don't have to prove anything to you. Believe what you want to believe. I believe what I want to believe. The teacher believes that Sasquatch is real. You don't believe Sasquatch is real. Hey, and it's sad that it happened, and I don't know what if they found the bear, never said what they're going to do to the bear. But me personally, I don't think if they find the bear, they should do anything to the bear, because the bear was acting like a bear, and the bear was in his home. He was in his home. You can't get angry when you step into somebody else's space. You can't get upset when something happens and you step into someone else's space. Now, if the bear had came out into the civilization part where the humans are, then they may have to take the bear down. But if you go into his area, then you don't need to go into the woods looking for the bear to shoot the bear, because the bear stays away from humans most times. They hide out in wooded areas. They don't want to be seen. They're not out looking for you to hunt you down. I'm not saying bears haven't done that, because bears have come out the woods and grabbed kids and things like that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, they said most times. I don't know nothing about a bear. They said most times bears stay away from humans, But if the bear had went out there and out there where humans were, then they may have to tase him, take him down, shoot him or whatever. But you can't go running into the woods looking for him. First of all, you don't even know how many bears is out there, and you don't even know which bear did it. Teach your kids to stay where they need to stay, and don't be roaming all over the place. And pranks do go wrong. They're funny, but I'm sure the teacher could have figured out that was not a real Sasquatch. When you sitting up there with a fur coat on, probably masking tape and all kind of stuff, holding it together, I'm sure the teacher would have figured out that's not even real. So the prank was just silly from the beginning. But they're 14. They were having fun. I'm sure the teacher probably was having fun with them. They was going back and forth. But look what happened. He could have been destroyed, pulled apart totally. Or the bear could have pulled him back to his cage and kept him as his wife. In the cage. In the cave. Excuse me. Thank God the bear just let him go. And it had to be it was a typical male bear, because when he got done, what'd he do? He left her. Left her laying. When he got his, he was like, deuces, I'm out of here. Bye. That happens in real life to women and men now. He get it, he turn over, go to sleep, or go get in his car and go home. He done. I'm done. Bye. He pulling you all close to him and all over you, and then boom, I'm done. You laying there like, what happened? What just happened? He done left. The bear was a typical male. He did exactly what men do all the time. Get theirs, And it took him 10 minutes. Normally, it don't even take human men 10 minutes. 3 to 5 tops. 3 to 5 tops. You know, and boom, they done. And they go back to their cave or wherever they're going to go. Back to their wife, their girlfriend, wherever. Or if they're with you, they just turn over and go to sleep because they done. He didn't even get a phone call from that bed the next day. The bed didn't even call him. It's like, I don't want your number. Because I'm assuming the bed thought it was a girl. I'm going to assume it, but I don't know. But anyway, and I know it's not funny. I'm making light of it right now. But I want to share that with you all. You all need to keep your children close by. Find out where they are going before they go. And then give them the right information, the right direction, so things like this don't happen, or worse, death, you know? So with that being said, I'm going to say Vielen Dank. That's thank you very much in German. So Vielen Dank for watching me, and choose, that's what? That's bye in German.